and welcome back to the Mental Path Podcast. I'm Dr. Gretchen Gavero, a psychiatrist, psychotherapist, and educator who believes mental health support should actually fit your real life. Here we blend medical science, psychology, and personal development to build mental health habits that stick, habits that help you reset your stress, rethink your patterns, and reclaim your energy. Because mental health isn't just about therapy, deep breaths, or medication. It's about practical, learnable skills that help you feel better, think more clearly, and move through your day with more calm, clarity, and control. So far in Season 2, we've covered how to manage negative self-talk, build confidence, how nutrition impacts your mood, how to make time for self-care, and how to navigate boundaries, especially when family or cultural expectations make that feel complicated. Today, we're adding something else to your mental health toolkit: blood pressure. Yes, I said blood pressure. It's not exactly the first thing you think of when it comes to stress or mood, but it's one of the most important connections we often miss. Let's break down what's really happening in your body, how your thoughts and environment are involved, and the small but powerful ways you can reset the system. Let's get into it. Your brain and blood pressure are always communicating with each other. We tend to think of high blood pressure as a heart issue, and it is, but it's also a nervous system issue. It's a brain issue. It's a stress issue. Here's what's happening inside your body. Your amygdala, your brain's alarm system, constantly scans for threats. When it senses danger, whether it's real or perceived, it signals the rest of your body to respond. Your body enters fight or flight mode. That means your heart rate increases, your blood vessels tighten, and your blood pressure rises. If that stress is short-lived, the system resets. But when stress is chronic, which is often the case for high achievers and busy people like you and I, the body stays stuck in survival mode. Even when you're sitting at your desk, even when you're just trying to fall asleep, stress still shows up in your body as elevated blood pressure. Here's something to remember. High blood pressure, also known as hypertension, reduces blood flow to the prefrontal cortex. That part of your brain helps with planning, focus, and emotional regulation. So when blood flow to the brain is reduced, you may start noticing irritability, brain fog, anxiety, or even depression. It's not just a mood issue. Your brain literally isn't getting the support it needs to function well. In our nutrition episode, we touched on the role of inflammation. Chronic inflammation plays a significant role in cardiovascular and mental conditions, and chronic stress increases your risk of hypertension. There's a strong connection between what's happening in your brain and what's happening in your body. For example, I've worked with many people having daily headaches, mood swings, and irritability. They thought it was all due to burnout. What did we find out? For some, their blood pressure was way too high, and it wasn't until we addressed chronic stress and built in consistent rest that they actually started to feel like themselves again. Their energy shifted, their clarity returned, and the blood pressure came down. That's how closely it's all tied together. So, if you've been feeling physically off, more tense, irritable, or wired, it's not just in your head. Your body might be asking for a reset. Before we move into mindset and environment, I want to touch on something that I know many of you are already navigating: medications. If you're taking psychiatric medications or meds for blood pressure, it's important to understand how they can interact with one another and with your body's stress system. Let's start with monitoring. If you're already on meds for depression, anxiety, or hypertension, aka high blood pressure, your blood pressure should be checked regularly. Not just once a year at your doctor's office, but consistently, especially if you're adding new medications or adjusting doses. You can get your blood pressure checked at the pharmacy, or better yet, buy a simple, inexpensive blood pressure machine. Here's a quick reminder on how to take your blood pressure at home. Use a reliable cuff monitor. Sit upright in a quiet space, feet flat, back supported. No coffee, smoking, or big meals for 30 minutes before. Wrap the cuff snugly on your bare upper arm, about an inch above your elbow. Rest your arm at heart level. Now, breathe, relax, and wait 5 minutes before hitting start. Record your measurements and even bring them to your next doctor's appointment. That's it. Keep it simple, stay consistent. Now let's talk about two medications that come up often in this context. First, propranolol. This is a medication frequently used to manage high blood pressure. It works by reducing your heart's output, helping to lower the physical symptoms of stress. It's usually prescribed for performance anxiety or panic symptoms, and it can be helpful when stress is driving your blood pressure up. That said, propranolol isn't right for everyone. It's not typically used in people with certain heart conditions or asthma. So this is always a case-by-case decision made with your doctor. Then there's venlafaxine, also known as Effexor. It's an antidepressant often used to treat depression and anxiety. It doesn't directly lower blood pressure, but by helping you manage chronic stress, it can indirectly support healthier blood pressure patterns. However, at higher doses, venlafaxine can actually raise blood pressure in some people, which is why, again, monitoring is key. The takeaway here is this. In addition to healthy lifestyle, which in my opinion is the top of all health plans, medication can absolutely be part of your mental health or blood pressure plan, but it's not one size fits all, and it's never the only tool. You still need skills, structure, and support. So if you're on medications like propranolol or venlafaxine, talk to your doctor about how they may be affecting your blood pressure. And keep track of your numbers. The more informed you are, the more empowered you become in managing both your mind and your body. Let's talk about your thoughts now, because what you think has a direct impact on how your body feels. If you're constantly overthinking, catastrophizing, or focused on worst-case scenario, or being hard on yourself, your body reacts just like it would in a physical emergency. Your brain doesn't always distinguish between a real threat and an imagined one, so the stress response still kicks in. You get more cortisol, more adrenaline, and yes, higher blood pressure. And here's the part most people miss. You don't always have to feel anxious to be in a stress state. To be clear, stress is important. It serves a purpose for us to do things, alert us to take action, and do the things we need to get done. I'm talking about when stress is quiet. For example, it can look like perfectionism, running on fumes but refusing to slow down. This kind of stress is so common in high-achieving spaces that we've normalized it. But your nervous system hasn't, and it's paying the price. One of the tools I teach is challenging negative thoughts. Build a habit to pause and check in with your self-talk. Ask yourself, what would I say to a friend who was thinking this? Is this thought helping me or hurting me right now? That pause can shift your physiology or your body functions. It's the moment your brain can start telling your body, we're okay, you can calm down now. Well, now let's zoom out and talk about your environment, because your physical surroundings play a massive role in how safe or stressed your body feels on a day-to-day basis. Let me paint a picture. Maybe your mornings start with alarms blaring, kids yelling, and back-to-back meetings. Maybe you haven't gone out and stepped out in the sun or even had some quiet time in days. Maybe your calendar looks like a very complicated puzzle, a puzzle that never fits well together. Even if you're not thinking about stress, your environment is creating it. It doesn't take a crisis to activate your stress response. It just takes ongoing stimulation with no recovery. And if you grew up in a culture where stress is considered normal or where rest feels like laziness, you might be holding on to more tension than you realize. So here's your reset prompt for this week. What's one thing you can subtract from your schedule to give your brain and heart a break? It doesn't have to be a big overhaul. Just pick one thing to take off your plate. And keep this in mind. Boundaries aren't just about protecting your time or energy. They're also a form of physical regulation. They give your nervous system space to breathe, and that directly impacts your blood pressure. Let's put this all together. If you're realizing, yes, I've been stuck in stress mode, here's how we begin to reset. I use a 3-part framework: body, mind, and environment. Let's start with your body. First, breath work. Even just 3 minutes of breathing exercises, inhaling for 4 seconds, exhaling for 6, that can signal safety to your nervous system. I do this myself when I'm feeling overwhelmed between patients or in between tasks at home, or even when I'm with my kids. Next, nutrition. Fuel your body with heart supportive foods. That means low carb and mostly protein, fiber, and healthy fats. These foods aren't just good for your heart, they help stabilize your energy and your nervous system. Also, cut back on processed foods like high sodium snacks. Use herbs, spices, and lemon for flavor instead of extra salt. And stay hydrated. Water first, then coffee. Now for the mind. Do a daily check-in with your body, your thoughts, and your environment. Just ask, what's happening in my body? What thoughts are showing up? What's going on around me? And if you notice a thought that's not helping, please challenge it. Reframe it using the strategies I've shared in each of the episodes. Finally, reset your environment. Schedule rest on your calendar, not as a reward, but as a maintenance, a non-negotiable appointment with yourself, just like you'd schedule a doctor's appointment. Create a calm zone in your home as well. Low light, no screens, maybe music that feels good. A space that signals safety to your system. Let me quickly recap. Breathe and nourish your body, challenge unhelpful thoughts, and create an environment that supports calm. Small shifts, big difference. Here's the bottom line. High blood pressure isn't just a physical issue. It's a full body, full brain experience. Your physiology, your thoughts, your routines, everything is connected. When you start to listen to what your body is telling you, you can start to shift it. And when your brain and body start working together, everything feels more manageable. Try this today. Just one thing. Ask yourself, is my brain on high alert right now? And then ask, what's one small thing I can do to tell my body it's safe? Now, before we wrap up, I want you to think about this. If chronic stress can raise your blood pressure, what happens when that stress is being driven by perfectionism? The kind of perfectionism that keeps you up at night. The one that makes you redo things until they're just right. That pushes you to over-deliver even when you're already running on empty. That kind of pressure doesn't just wear on your mind, it wears on your body too. So next week, we're diving into a big one. Perfectionism and letting go of unrealistic standards. We'll talk about how to release perfectionism while striving for excellence. Sometimes perfectionism isn't about high standards. For some, it's about fear. And when fear is running the show, burnout and overwhelm are right behind it. So let me ask you, do you ever feel like perfectionism is holding you back more than it's helping you? If so, make sure you don't miss this next episode. Until then, I'm Dr. Gretchen, and this is the Mental Path Podcast. Take care of your mind because when you do, you take care of everything else. See you next week.